Hello, lore heads, and welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
And my name's Mark.
And today we're talking about the righteous Kayle, who was released February 21st, 2009. God, so many old people in a row.
Right?
Right. Did we accidentally stumble into the senior citizens ward of Runeterra?
Which I guess is just the K section.
Yeah, honestly, right? Anyway, file them away under K.
Yeah, Kayle really is an old lady. She's another timeless champ. We haven't had one of these in a while, I feel like. Has it been a little bit?
Yeah, at least this one wasn't in first breath of creation.
No, but she's
still over 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's bringing chicken, I guess. What I find funny is that in her old lore, they even talk about her being tens of thousands of years old.
Oh man,
they really like it. I don't know.
It's their favesies.
She's an original beta champion. She's one of the true OG 17.
Yeah.
Her and Morgana are both. Yeah. I think they might be the first. I think they're the first siblings in I would bet.
They are the first official siblings.
Which is really funny because I think they were the last ones I realized were siblings. I knew before I read the Kayle lore, but not a lot before I read the Kayle lore. I think Garen and Lux were the first I knew of officially. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, they're our first official siblings, our fraternal twins.
Yeah, didn't they have? Do you remember? I think it was at Season 2 World, Season 3, where Riot did a lot of these prints of kind of people who were rivals. That's the word I'm looking for. Wasn't Kayle and Morgana one of them?
Yeah,
I think
Kayle and
so.
Morgana was one of them. I think at that point they may have had Diana Leona. And there
sounds familiar. Yeah.
God, what was
it Ringo Kha'Zix? Was that the third one?
Ringo Kha'Zix. I feel like there was another one too that I'm
maybe
not
Darius
pulling right now.
Karen? Yeah, I'll have to think about it.
But yeah, that was a pretty hype poster. It was pretty cool.
I can kind of picture it.
Right, it's like a vague sort of form in your brain. I kind of remember. The thing is, you can just fill in the blanks because you know the characters.
That's true. That's
the thing.
fair. Visually, they're very good as opposites of each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, on the universe page, Kayle has a bio and 2 short stories. And also, there's often some old concept art, but for some reason, Kayle's was kind of funny looking to me. So I wanted to bring it up. It wasn't as real funny looking, but...
Yeah, the old concept art, which sometimes shows up, is it's very stylized, I guess I would say. I'm not trying to be I don't even think it's bad per se.
No,
it's just very stylized.
Yeah.
And I suspect it's all done by that Edmundo guy who Mundo is named after.
Oh.
Yeah, because he has a very specific sort of style, and it's interesting seeing it compared to what we look at in splash arts now, because they're so different,
Yeah. Especially Kayle got a rework and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's a good rework.
Yeah, the truth is, I don't remember you said her original ult did something that's not what it does now. Is that right?
Yeah, her old ult used to be eye for an eye.
What is that?
I don't know.
Basically, it would just, any damage she took, it would deal that damage in a big AoE around her.
Oh, interesting.
That sounds very Galio-esque. Just interesting.
Yeah, or a big Rammus type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, but yeah, they fixed that before. I think technically because that was her beta. It might have been before official release, or maybe she had an official release for a little while. My theory is that it was in the middle of the Journal of Justice for reasons that I will talk about a little bit later.
Oh, is that what that was about?
I think that's
interesting.
I'm left in the dark too, listener. Don't worry.
Yeah. That'll be a fun little thing that we'll hit on. So stay tuned. Do we want to do impressions now? Is that what we normally do?
Oh my god, why do I always forget this?
You always forget,
time?
And I always have 2 quotes, and you rarely choose one of my quotes. But
that's when I don't play Kayle. I don't think I've ever heard her in my life. I'm just hearing karma, but I don't think that's it.
I mean, you're not really far off. I mean, I think it's an interest. I prefer almost that you don't listen, because I think it's a good judge of a character's design, that you can look at them and say, Braum probably sounds something like this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or Kayle sounds like this. But God, what does she sound like? She doesn't have a terribly strong voice. I don't.
Did you want to do the second quote that you wrote down there, John?
Sure.
Well, I was just like, it seemed like one that you wanted to do, even though it would be kind of fun to do it in what I'm trying to imagine Kayle sounds like. But you can have that one. I could do the top one. All right, now, all right. There is no right, and there is wrong.
All right.
There is right, and there is wrong. There is right, and there is wrong. All else is rationalization. All right, Kayle. That was my Kayle impression.
Kayle is through with herself halfway through her own quotes, apparently.
She doesn't remember what she wants to say. She's the Michael Scott of Runeterra. You're welcome. All right, so what else do a Kayle impression? How close was I?
It was super close.
The first half was actually pretty good. I was gonna say, wow, you really nailed it out the box, and then the wheels fell the fuck off. But,
I was just kind of confused by the quote because I didn't read it beforehand, which is my mistake. But I saw the word yordle in the second one, and that made me read it. So,
Evil fears only fire. And yordles, because what even are they?
we just don't know. But she sounds like when justice bends, it breaks.
okay.
She's very severe. Which makes
Seems
sense,
like she
I
would
suppose.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wants to take us through some Kayle bio by Rayla Hyde.
I guess I'll do it because I suspect she's got a shit ton of AU content. Is that a good assumption?
That is a good assumption.
Okay, well, I'll spare you. There's a lot of names in this too, so
We
buckle
could skip
up.
them, I think.
Well,
Some
we'll
of
give
them are
them a start.
important, but
All right.
Yeah. It's not terrible. So it
Like
starts
Morgana.
out in Targon. Yeah, I guess that's an important one. It starts out in Targon. Starts actually with Kayle's mother and father. They decide to ascend Targon's Peak because this is during the Rune War. So we already know that it's a long fucking time ago. And her mother's name is Mihira, and her father's name is Killam. Killam.
Wait. Is that how you pronounce that name? It's Killam?
Killam. I don't know.
I like
read it,
Killam.
and
That's
how it
pretty
came
funny.
out.
I didn't.
if you can't helium or curium, kill him.
So it's Heimerdinger. Okay, we get into deep lore.
Oh man.
But those are her parents, and while they ascend, their mother is pregnant with both Kayle and Morgana, their sisters, in case anyone didn't know that. And their mother is chosen as the host for the aspect of justice. And because it's the Rune Wars, I guess the mom is very busy fighting off injustice. And so talks about her father starting to fear her divinity, but also just the danger of the people she's fighting. And so he eventually absconds with Kayle and Morgana going to across the sea to this land that is essentially Proto-Demacia. So kind of like its early foundational parts. And as they're growing up, Kayle she doesn't really remember her mother, but believes that laws exist to keep people safe. And it says that, but then it also says that she argues constantly with the people who run the whole place about their laws. Maybe just saying that they're not doing it well. I don't know. And but she does feel
My laws are right specifically.
which I guess would be on book, but I would like more details because to me that seems kind of to run contrary to saying like, oh, you really believe in laws,
Imagine you're running this like town and this fucking shitty 11-year-old comes up to you and they're like, here are my laws, they're better than yours.
Candy every night.
I would actually
Or
love to see
death.
that taken seriously. Right. I would like to see that taken seriously because I guess one of my complaints about this is that I don't have any understanding of what Kayle and Morgana are like as kids or their kind of upbringing. It's very like you get this one sentence.
Yeah.
I would love to see that conversation. Anyway, so what happens? So Kayle and Morgana are growing up. It talks about their temperaments are very opposite, and when they're teenagers, their mother Mihira's sword suddenly crashes to earth, and it splits in two. And Kayle takes one half, and Morgana takes the other. And Kayle feels this connection to her mother, and kind of takes it as a sign to follow her example. And so they eventually sort of become these blessed winged protectors of Proto-Demacia, and they're symbols of light and truth, and everyone reveres them. Kayle, does that by fighting a bunch of battles. She forms this order called the Judicators, and they kind of very draconian, enforcing laws and things like that. And there's kind of a schism between Kayle and Morgana. Morgana wants to like rehabilitate people, and Kayle kind of allows her to do it, even though Kayle's followers don't like it. And it comes to a head when Kayle's protege, a guy named Ronus, attempts to imprison Morgana, and Kayle returns from somewhere, doesn't specify, and finds that like when he went to go arrest Morgana, he's dead and the city's in fucking chaos. It's like that bit from Community. He comes up with she comes back with the pizzas and the place is just fucked. And so Kayle kind of just flies into a blind rage and is like going to cleanse the city with holy fire, and Morgana goes to stop Kayle, and they're kind of this epic battles happening in the sky, and suddenly their dad just dies during the rioting or as a result of it all, and that kind of stops them. And Morgana is like cradling him in her arms, and Kayle kind of determines to not let mortal emotions sway her and flies up and away to Targon to like find her mom and connect with her mom and like get pure raw celestial clarity. And now centuries have gone by, and Kayle is like a legend in Demacia and has influenced a lot of Demacian culture and why they're such Johnny Do-Goods, I don't know, stuff like that.
And yet they hate magic, and Kayle was magical. Because they also mentioned that a lot of people in Demacia want her to come back, and I'm like, do you?
But she has sanctified magic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You see.
It's pure, clean magic.
Yes, it's the difference between clerical magic and sorcerer
Shut
magic.
up, you nerd.
Clerical magic. Yeah.
So what I struggled with this, I know this isn't Morgana's bio, but I genuinely could not understand why Kayle and Morgana didn't get along. I was just like, wait, so what's going on? What does Morgana say? They have opposite opinions, but then I don't really get what those opinions are.
Basically just boils down to Morgana believes that if someone breaks the law, they should have the chance to rehabilitate themselves as like a way of redemption. Like,
agreed.
Oh, I'm better now. And Kayle thinks you broke the law and you're going to get punished now. So if you broke the law in a certain way, say like murder, like she's very eye for an eye. No matter what crime you did, that's the punishment you're going to get. And rehabilitation is not on the table.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that is the conflict, and there's a dearth of ideas and discussions you can have. I mean, whole, wondrous works are made about that very idea, right? Mm-hmm. Or those like different perspectives on justice. But I think the big issue to me is that there's no like character at the core of it to like explore those ideas with, right? Like, I can't think of a good example off the top of my head, but maybe Darius, for example. Darius had like an actual character, and through him we interacted with, and he's like a vector into Noxian kind of philosophy, right? And with Kayle, like, I think there needs to be a lot more of a character to really drive those interactions with these ideas. It's like they really like this theme and these ideas, but like that was kind of the extent of it almost.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good idea. With Darius, like, you understand very quickly why he sides with Noxus and why he feels the way he does, and then why he starts to maybe have conflict with that later in his life after some things happen. Whereas Kayle and Morgana are supposedly raised exactly the same, but they have very different ideas of justice, which is very interesting. These two people are these like goddesses of justice or whatever, and they want to handle it different ways. But why do they have such opposing views of justice? What happened to them? What happened to Kayle that made her want this eye for an eye? And what, where is Morgana at that she has more sympathy, I guess?
Yeah. I think there's vagaries. I think it's a shame too, because there were some really interesting little situations you could explore with like the relationship between her dad and her mom. What's it like to have a wife who suddenly is now a fucking aspect of justice? It reminds me of like that Karma story where someone kind of had that happen sort of with Karma, right? Yeah.
And what was their upbringing like? Definitely kind of got this, what was it, like the Spider-Man feel or like the Superman feel even, where like it seemed like as soon as she became the aspect, then the people who started to fight her, or the enemies that she attracted, became progressively stronger and stronger as a way of like, I can take on an aspect. So it was kind of the whole theory behind like, would Gotham be better without Batman? Because the criminals are only coming to fuck with Batman. Like,
yeah. You get a little bit more of it in Morgana's bio, where it talks about a little bit more of what the dad is kind of like. It seems like maybe that relationship a bit stronger with Morgana and Kill 'Em All But what was I trying to say? I think the issue is I still want that from Kayle, and like you said, I want to understand like what's it like growing up in that situation, and how did it develop these characters a little bit, like just little snippets, you know. Also, we don't really know anything about like her parents. We don't know anything about like Ronus, and these are characters who like have really do things that are really impactful to the plot. Is kind of my complaint. Is like I don't know anything about what Ronus's deal is, you know.
Yeah, their parents are really crucial, and I think Kayle being more like her mom and Morgana being more like her dad could be an explanation for why they are that way. But from what we see, Kayle barely knew her mom, didn't even know her mom, so I won't buy that she just took after her mom, you know, naturally. That's not how that works.
And I think like for something like Ronus too, especially,
who was Ronus again? I'm so sorry.
Ronus was the one who tried to arrest
right, sorry.
But like,
oh yeah, who the fuck was that guy? I didn't even care.
For someone who is such who's responsible for such an inciting incident that created the rift between these two, it should have been more than like a sentence description in a Morgana bio dedicated to him.
Yeah, right.
And then he went after, and she tried to restrain him, but killed him.
I think
he needs his own story.
I mean,
like that whole situation needs its own story.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think it's like we're left to just like guess as to what's the relationship between Kayle and Ronus. You know, I don't know. Like protege can mean so many things. Is he getting her fucking coffees? You know, like are they just work buddies? She gets pissed off, so I assume my first thought is romantic, but who knows, right? We don't know. And then likewise in Morgana's, it kind of paints us as like, oh, she kind of accidentally killed him. But even then, we're still kind of guessing. Like we don't know how much she was able to not kill him. Like was a complete fuck up. You know, who knows, right?
And I think that ties into one of what I think my biggest issues with Kayle is, and it's that through her stories, she is not a nuanced character at all. She's very one note, and through a lot of her quotes, she's very one note. But some of her quotes add kind of a layer that we don't see anywhere else except for the author AMAs that they did on Reddit, where people would ask them questions like, hey, could you answer this question about reworked Morgana and Kayle? And they would answer. And in those AMAs, they added a ton of nuance to the character that just is not present in their stories. Like, none of the stuff that they were saying is reflected, and I would love for it to be, because the version that they had in their head of Kayle and Morgana sounds way fucking cooler than what we get in the Kayle and Morgana stories. And like those are the stories I want to hear. Like I want them to tell those stories in something that's not a Reddit AMA.
Absolutely. I agree on like all counts, right? I agree with what you're saying about the VO. I enjoyed the VO. It is very one note, like you said, but it's one note in like a good way, where it seems like there was more of a decision made around Kayle is bad. We're not going to attempt, you know, such like a nuance of like, oh, it's just different perspectives. It's like, no, Kayle comes off very, you know, wrong, I would argue, but in a way that's kind of fun. Like I was getting like Warhammer 40k Imperium of Man vibes, you know, like burn the heretic, like playing the bad guy a little. It can be fun, you know, in that way of like feeling like a religious zealot. I don't know. I think that can be a fun thing to kind of embody. And then, like you said, there's like affectations between her and Morgana that hint a little bit to it, more of a deeper and more interesting relationship than I think is what depicted. And I feel the exact same way too about the AMA stuff, where I was reading through it. There's a lot of it, and you can get a lot of answers on a lot of things that maybe better contextualize what's going on with all this. But like in my mind, that's all kind of, that's like half true, because we never know when Riot will tell a story and half that AMA is no longer accurate, right? It's just tenuous at best.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of like Bard in that way.
Yeah, especially when they start bringing on more people to be writers. They don't know those AMAs exist necessarily. That's like what happened with a lot of stuff with Rengar, right? It's like they had no idea that like some things were confirmed. And why would they? They're not going to Google Reddit Kayle posts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think a lot of those answers, I could be wrong, you know, I read through them, but I also started like, I could feel the data not getting written to the hard drive when I was getting to the end of those. but yeah, I mean, it's the thing is, I think a lot of those answers, some of them are kind of to little finery details. It's like, it's fun to know as trivia, but in terms of defining the character, it's like, who cares? We'll just probably jettison these and make something that's maybe a little more focused, and hopefully would be like a more well-defined character from it, I guess I feel like.
Right. Like it was kind of like half clarification questions, half fun trivia.
Yeah. Which I guess, I get it. They're just kind of hanging out doing an AMA. I'm not like holding them to the to some sort of major standard, And
it's great. Like, I like that they did it. Like, it's a cool idea to do, and like to answer questions. And because, I mean, some of the questions I could ask, like, obviously they don't make a ton of sense to include in a story. Like, what is Kayle's favorite food? That doesn't need to be in a story, Jack's authors. But
and Kaisa authors. Come on now.
But it's just a fun bit of trivia to have. But a lot of the other stuff that was asked, like, yeah, it should have probably been told somewhere, because it's pretty important.
Yeah, I think the vagaries are a big issue that I have with this. I know we just talked about the bio, but I think that the thing is, none of this stuff gets addressed in the other stories. I really feel like we get a little bit more in that poem, I guess I would say, and cross-referencing with Morgana's bio a bit, but for the most part, it's feels like a lot of kind of holes. And then also there were like little bits of the writing that to me struck kind of awkward. Like it talks about like when they're first born and then their personalities. It says like Kayle was as bright as Morgana was dark, and to me that's like a nothing sentence, because it's like, I don't know what you mean by these terms.
Yeah.
And
it's like really... Morgana like casts in shadow immediately. Like, I can picture Morgana, but did she just pop out of her mama quick. Looking like that? Like,
she looking like a little baby Vex.
But and then like, it's like, okay, even if we define those and you're just we get the idea of, oh, they're opposites, you're still just telling me. You're not like, it's not driven through character action at all. Like, they don't do things as kids to show like, oh, I like this and I like this and we're different. Mm-hmm. You just kind of told me,
Yeah.
Right. So. And I think like a lot of the bios are big on telling instead of showing, and a lot of the times the short stories that follow up fill in those blanks. But man, we don't get that in our short stories this week, folks.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the issue. Like, these things would be more forgivable if we had follow-up, But it kind of stands very stark, like, oh, I don't know. I'm just being told all these things about these characters. That being said, do we want to dig into the story then?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Although, what's their mother's name again?
Mahira, I think?
Mahira. I just wanted to comment on, in general, like, what a dope core to the story. Is this fucking woman climbs Mount Targon, pregnant with twins. Baddest bitch. No, not Jarvan. Pantheon, I don't give a fuck how many times you climb Mount Targon. You were not growing twins in your body when you did it, son. And then she gives birth. Where did she give birth? Was it on Mount Targon?
I think it was said it was under the light of the
vault.
That's so
stars,
cool.
Yeah.
Man, what a birth, huh?
Yeah.
And then the kids have like a connection to the ascension power. That's all very cool.
Yeah.
Half celestials.
Yeah. There's just no character here, really, which will make it stronger, which give us a connection. But anyway, the short stories.
Yeah.
I would love for the reintroduction of their mom, because
oh my god, her mom.
She's not confirmed dead. Like, there's some event that made the sword there, but like, they did specifically say in the AMA, never trust an off-screen death. So I would love to see her pop up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of almost my frustration with it, is that there are these real. That's what I was trying to say. There's very interesting relationships. What's it like to be the child of an aspect? All these fucking things that you could really dig into and get really cool characters out of. But unfortunately, it's not really capitalized on. It feels like
I'm like theory crafting here, but what I would love to see is for Kayle to meet one Pantheon. Or not Pantheon. I want Kayle to meet Atreus so that he can take step one of like disenchanting her from the aspects. Mm-hmm. Like, oh no, this sucks. They just fucking took over my goddamn brain. Like, this was awful. And then to meet her mom again, if her mom is like super like even stricter than her, because she's kind of implied that she has her doubts about what she's doing too, and she's really just trying to push that shit down so she doesn't have to think about it. Again, additional context that's not really given in the stories, but like seeing a more extreme version of herself that might also, on top of Atreus, being like, oh shit, maybe aspects do suck. Fuck, what have I been doing?
You think like a pageant mom type situation with her mom?
Yeah.
She's really a dance mom.
Yeah, dance like that would be a great angle to take with it. Frankly, have it give them a bit more of a relationship before they leave. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all aboard that fucking train because that sounds great to me. I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
So, anywho, first story is In the Fires of Justice, again by Rayla Hyde.
Yeah. So this one is being told kind of about a Demacian soldier. His name is Abris or Abri, if you're feeling that. But he's
feeling français.
Hey, it is Demacia. They got the Laurence and all the, so maybe it is Abri. Anyway, Abri is visiting the Temple of the Protector, aka Kayle, because Abri is about to go into battle tomorrow, and he is feeling like he's having like a crisis of conscience. I kind of slurred that, but it's right before the battle. It's like his first one we see, and he's kind of asking this question of an Illuminator, which are a kind of religious order in Demacia. Like, how am I better than the barbarians who are invading our lands? How can I say I'm all just and righteous if I'm spilling their blood? So the Illuminator starts telling a story, and the story is about this cruel king who, led his people to be impoverished, and he gathers everyone up and he declares, I'm the law, and then also old people don't get any food, and we're going to start killing them immediately.
Oh my God.
So he starts, and then Kayle kind of just like appears, apparates at such injustice, and she judges the king and, kills him, even though he's like he's begging for forgiveness, pleading to like, don't kill me, I was sorry, I did wrong. And
wrong sister, buddy.
Yeah. And and Kayle's kind of like, oh, no one's above the law, blah, blah, blah. And it also sparks a fire that spreads across the land and scorches out all of the king's followers. And so the Illuminator explains that the barbarians are lawless, and so I guess that's why what he's doing is just, and Abri is inspired and goes off to go kill him some fucking barbarians, man. He's all about that life. I did not care for this story that much either.
Hashtag justice.
It's also worth mentioning that in the flame that killed all the king's followers, it does specifically mention that it also killed all of his servants, which seems like a bummer.
God.
Maybe it means like willing, like someone who is serving his interests, like when you say like, ooh, his dark servants, that type of thing.
I
Not
think
like
it
someone
was
who's
like
just like
his cook.
Well, because one of her quotes does specifically say that complacency is worse than guilt. So
that's true.
I mean, it could very well just be her servants that weren't willing to die to fight against him, which is a rough line to draw.
A little bit, Kayle.
I mean, I'm fine with that because I'm fine with
character too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Kayle as that kind of not over the top, but has gone into full on villainy, which I think, again, you're talking about her quotes. It's like that's more of how I think she's depicted, and I think it's like that's a more solid stand for a character. It's like, yeah, I'm wrong, right? And the writer knows I'm wrong. You know what I mean?
This feels like we talk about first-time D&D characters a lot. This feels like someone's first-time paladin a little bit. Like they're like, I know that they're religious and justice, so they take it way too far.
It's the paladin who you have you have a chaotic neutral person in your party, and the paladin consistently tries to kill them for doing things.
It's so tiring.
I was I was talking with Sarah about this, and I definitely use the phrase "baby's first lawful good." Like is there kind of like the basic moral conundrums that you come into with this very concept? It's like we need to kind of progress past some of this to or to have her just be evil, and that's more. That's also fun, I guess. My issue with this first and foremost was that it feels like the soldier's question isn't even directly addressed by the story, right? Like
it is
the answer to me
implied
is
that the.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It is implied that the Illuminator is very old. This could just be default response
just
to whenever anyone asks her anything at all.
Like Grandpa Simpson just rambling, just like whatever.
Yes, she killed the kingdom, Grandpa. Go back inside.
But he's inspired by it. He takes it's written as if he heard this and was like, I get it now. I understand. But to me, that story doesn't address his question. And I feel like his question has got my reasonable answer would be like, well, they're coming to invade our shit and kill our people and take our stuff. So you're defending yourself. That's the difference, right? Next, go make an offer.
Right.
But the story is like, well, this king was really lawless and said he was like above the law. So Kayle came and fucking killed him. And those barbarians don't have laws, so there you go. It's like even that to me doesn't quite track.
It's a real thin connection, yeah. It's really
that's where the thing, it's yeah.
The other thing that struck me about this story, and sorry to bring this up.
Oh no.
If Kayle's like, this one king somewhere is like gonna kill some of his folks for being old, and that is injustice enough for her to pop out of nothingness and slay him. The fuck, Kayle? Like, there's a ruination happening here. There are mage seekers murdering your people. Like, where the fuck are you? It's even said in the AMA. Someone asked, like, would she agree with what Demasia's doing? And they were like, no. Where the fuck are you, Kayle?
Yeah. That's another big question that's begged by that whole idea, right? Is like, when is it enough, right, to have you come down from high on? Now, I will say about this, because, like you said, it's a very old person telling a very old story, we can almost kind of see this as, like, this is not literal, right? This is more... I think an interesting read on this is the idea of, like, this is the battle between her and Morgana, almost, because it talks about her in the bio wanting to cleanse that city in holy fire. And here, there's that same sort of fire imagery going on, and so... maybe that's the way they've kind of taken that story and turned it into something that makes Kayle look like the good person. Like, don't worry, all that holy fire, it just cleansed out everyone who was shitty. And everyone who survived, thumbs up. It's like a little bit of a... oh, God, what's the word? I've completely lost it from Christian mythology. What is it? Or theology, sorry. I can't remember the name of it. It's where everyone gets rapture.
Oh.
Kind of a rapture situation. Where, like, everyone left alive is,
it's
not a
good.
sinner.
John,
Yeah.
by the way, you know where Kayle is. She's busy fighting in the League of Legends.
Busy being enslaved in the League of Legends.
the summoners have her.
Actually, I think last we hear of her, she's technically in Targon Prime, which is a place that... This is kind of the first we're hearing of Targon Prime, and I think
Is it like
the
Amazon
champions
Prime?
that we've talked about so far. It is almost like Amazon Prime, in that it has the same last name. So they're related. They are kin.
You send a raven to Targon Prime, and then they overnight it. These are good jokes.
I am liking it. It is cracking me
Thanks,
up, I will admit. But yeah, that's mostly it for the story. I don't know if how much else to say. I like the actual, like, moment-to-moment writing of it. Like, the description of the temple itself in particular is pretty cool. It's just, like, the story and stuff that's happening to me don't make a lot of sense. Also, that whole, like, story, like, you normally expect with a kind of, like, Aesop fable type thing, there's like a punch at the end. There's kind of, like, something that really sticks at home, and, like, you get it. You don't have to be told the moral because it's obvious. And with this, it just kind of ends. And I was like, I don't get what this is trying to tell me. Like, yeah, that king was a dick. I don't know, man.
Don't be a dick. And don't be a servant of a person who's a dick either, because you'll still get hurt.
Even to feed your family with no choices.
Yeah. So there's one other thing on the universe page, which I don't know if we mentioned, but the Canticle of the Winged Sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So this is framed as like a... Oh, is this by Graham McNeil?
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot to write down the buy on this one. Interesting. I don't know if poetry is his beat, but I could be. What the fuck do I know, right? But it is framed as a lost epic poem, supposedly lost in like the Crown Guard family, like, I don't know, vault or somewhere, some building of theirs. Funny enough, and it's essentially just kind of telling the story of Kayle and Morgana. There are like a few details that show up here that don't show up elsewhere. The two big ones are there is a battle at a Demasian city called Zafira. And Kayle goes out to meet like the main force, and Morgana stops a kind of surprise attack happening. And Kayle, in a time of need, is abandoned by Morgana, who is busy protecting the people of the city from this surprise attack. And that sort of starts the rift between them, I guess. Like Morgana says, "Oh, Kayle was willing to give these people up," and Kayle's like, "Oh, Morgana didn't come help me." It's a little bit harder to extrapolate Kayle's perspective, I think. And the other big one is at Silvermere. Kayle has this guilty individual, and who is begging for forgiveness, and Kayle's about to execute him, and Morgana stops her, throws up the old black shield on him, and kind of begs Kayle, like, hey, spare him. And Kayle, despite all of her followers saying, like, give him the thumbs down, relents and lets Morgana kind of, I don't know, redeem this guy in some way. Aside from that, it's pretty much what we already know, I think.
Yeah. We do find out that Kayle can apparently see what hides in the hearts of people.
Oh, creepy.
It's implied, at least.
So she knows everyone's fetish.
I kind of feel like she would be better at her job than she ends up being.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, it's framed as like this kind of epic poetry, so there's a lot of like there's not a lot of like boots on the ground literal like description of what's happening. It's pretty a little more vague, I guess. That's interesting. An interesting idea. I would like to see if that is the case, it kind of come into play a bit more. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
It could be an interesting piece if there was a lot more, and this was just like a little frosty on top, you know?
Yeah. Now, technically, she's in, or she appears, at least by name, in a few other stories.
Okay.
The first one is Fragile Legacies, which is like a kind of newer one by Dana Laurie Shaw, which takes place during the eulogy of Sona's adopted father, who had been killed in battle and was kind of an advisor to Jarvan III. And Jarvan III says, by the blades of the winged protectors, which I think there are several kind of places where we find that the story of the sisters over time has probably been lost by a lot of people or warped to the point where Kayle is kind of the people that people remember as like, oh, this is the protector of Demacia. Not a whole lot of people probably remember that it was like a pair of sisters that actually protected Demacia a lot. So I thought this was kind of an interesting quote, that Jarvan III seems to be referring to the both of them as opposed to just the Kayle.
Sure. I mean, we could see that almost as like kind of speaking to what we know about J3, which is that he's probably a little more forgiving than his son.
Yeah.
That would be a fun thing to play around with more, you know?
And contrast that with the despoiler of Havenfall, where our boy, who we know doesn't end up surviving that story, at one point calls out, he steals a horse and then says, "Protector, forgive me." It just, protector is kind of what they just refer to Kayle as, which, again, wrong sister, buddy.
So what's the punishment if it's an eye for an eye, if you steal someone's horse?
They get to ride you around for like a day.
That
Not
was so
sexually.
much better than no, I wasn't thinking sexually. I meant like he got saddled. Put the little thing in with the, I don't know anything about horse
The bit
riding.
and bridle.
Yeah, bit
Sure.
bridle.
Yeah. I've never ridden a horse. I'm not rich.
Grab his pommel, you know what I mean?
I rode a horse.
Wow. Fancy.
Into battle.
Honey, no.
Yeah. So that's where she shows up.
Yeah.
Anything else to say before I hop into some old lore?
I guess if you're really interested in it, I would say like Morgana's bio gives a little bit more insight like into their dad. It gives a little more insight, like we talked about, into the situation with Ronus. There's a bit of a disconnect between how the wings show up there, which I just find a little funny because they did these both at the same time, and this still seems like a little bit of a fuck up. There's also one other thing, is that an idea that shows up with Kayle a lot in her VO and kind of at the end of the bio is this idea of, and also in the summary sentence about her, is this idea of her being like disillusioned with like mortal failings and emotion and trying to shed that mortality and kind of become a true full ascended, which could be really interesting, especially in the face of Pantheon. That would be a great thing to have clash, those two ideas. But it, again, is not communicated at all in the stories. Like it's a single sentence at the end, and beyond that, I have no idea like why Kayle really thinks that or feels that way. I think you could explain, like I can imagine, but I would like the story to tell me why she thinks that, is kind of my thought.
Yeah.
So that's about it, I think.
All right. So her old bio, unsurprisingly, not very long. Many ages ago, in the distant heavens, Kayle, a free-spirited archangel of fire, had challenged the rigid principles of the High Order. In the Holy Regiment, orders are to be faithfully followed. Questioning them is synonymous with mutiny. Kayle was an elite warrior with a keen control of fire and potent holy links, but she struggled to suppress her renegade spirit and lust for understanding. She had grown weary of executing mission after mission on faith instead of reason. She knew in her heart that she fought for good, but she was sick of following orders without understanding them. Why, she finally asked. Why not strike them harder and end this war now and forever? And in an instant, she was engulfed in a searing flash of light, followed by complete darkness as she lost consciousness. She came to, face down, in the damp green fields of Valoran, slowly realizing that her world had been turned upside down forever.
You're going to say in the damp green fields of justice.
That's what I thought he was going to say, too.
They did rework her second bio. Does incorporate the fields of justice.
Yeah, that was the oldest one I read was that one, where her people have been fighting on a different dimension for 10,000 years, and Morgana got summoned over to Runeterra, and so Kayle kind of came after, and now she's indentured to work in the League for 1,000 years or some crazy shit. I don't know. I will say though,
it's wild.
I really like the idea of that old bio of imagine we kind of just tweak that a little bit and Kayle becomes this full aspect and then questions what does it mean to be the aspect of justice? How do we define that? That's a whole can of worms, and then immediately just losing it and then that giving her the drive to want to I fucked up. I shouldn't have questioned it. I want to go be that again. Right? I don't know, do it, Riot. That to me is interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be good.
It's fun to take the inspiration from the old lore, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting there's no mention of Morgana at all, even though they were sisters then.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is weird. Maybe Riot was going to drop a hot lore bomb on everybody.
Oh,
and then just
maybe.
said, fuck it, we'll
the
just put it in the
surprise
bio.
reveal.
It was Vi and Jinx. They were like, oh, who knows?
Right.
Now, she's also in 3 issues of the Journal of Justice.
Oh, that's so few now.
I know,
after
right?
Katarina.
So issue 10, she's actually mentioned in 2 Mailbag of Justice questions.
Honey, you didn't say
The
your fun way.
Mailbag of Justice questions.
You. Wow, you really exaggerated at that time. That was great.
You're welcome. Now, the first one is, why do champions who are enemies work together? Again,
What?
they answered this question several times, apparently, but this one has a different answer for some reason.
They kept getting mail about this.
So this time the answer was, when champions join the league, they agree to play nice, basically.
They sign a little contract.
They literally...
Imagine
Yes.
some of the champions we've seen so far, like fucking Brand. He's like, oh yeah, we're besties now. No,
I like the idea of
Karthus.
it, right? It's written in crown. It's beef wins. Check yes or no. That's great.
And I like the idea, if they're not getting along, be like, you agreed to be friends for this. Barney's gonna come and take you away.
Go to the timeout chair.
Another thing I particularly liked about this question is that it was a great time capsule, because the person then went on to say, why do I occasionally see those sisters making such great lane partners together if they want to kill each other?
What?
Fuck yeah,
Was
dog.
Kayle bought for a bit?
Yeah,
Who the fuck knows, man?
I remember, before them metas were established, really. Used to have AD carries mid used to be the way to go. They'd put a mage bot lane with a support.
Interesting.
Top lane was whoever fucking anything goes.
It was a
Whoever
free-for-all.
wrote top into chat, and then even then you'd have 3 guys show up there. It's whatever.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Now the second question was whether the league has enough Oh God.
Sorry.
Does the league have enough champions yet that we can stop ripping unwilling people from their homeworlds to fight in the league? And a fun quote here. While some champions recognized our authority early on, many still believed that the League of Legends would not stand the test of time and that strife would soon return. Which is great, because, man, it turns out they were right.
They're having a power trip there.
Right.
Now, issue 23, The Incident. Kayle is affected by a withering curse, which was causing her to just really suck on the fields of justice.
Oh, no.
No summoners wanted to choose her anymore. She just kept losing. Her performance was terrible on the fields of justice. And then League officials finally found that the cause of this was a magical curse, and they were able to reverse it, returning Kayle to her normal strength. Morgana was suspected as the culprit, but no evidence was found. I did look back to see, because when Kayle was released, she was out for a little bit, and then she got a mini rework around, so it was September 2009, she got her rework, which could coincide with when this article came out. I would really love that, though, if that was like they did a little mini rework and they're like, all right, she sucked before, guys, but like now she's strong. It was the curse. The curse did it, guys.
Yeah, I love that. I was reading that, and I had no idea about the rework thing, but I was like, I wonder, did she get like a big buff this patch or something? What happened? Did they thought, okay, we have to explain this. We need an actual JOJ article. That's funny.
I guess a lot of these were back when they had like 20 champs, so like
Sure, yeah. I guess a rework would
explain things more. Yeah.
And now
That's
the
funny.
last one was another mailbag of justice. A summoner asked, again, this is just such a... So we talked about how Kalamonda was going down in the Journal of Justice, which was basically like the Crystal Scar map. Everyone was fighting over it. There was a big fight. The League had to get involved. So this summoner asks, where was Kayle when all this shit was going down in Kalamonda? The more things change, the more things change.
Man. That's awesome. God bless that fucking summoner, man.
She replies, which, again, knowing now her ability to see into people's hearts, this is fun and ironic. The League of Legends has acted upon its primary reason for existence, to protect the citizens of Valoran. Noxus and Demacia acted in selfish and reckless disregard for the armistice established 21 years ago. The actions taken against to cease their destructive engagement are just. I have seen firsthand what unchecked war can do to people, and I can say no measure, however dramatic, is too severe to prevent it. All that remains to be seen is whether or not the truly guilty parties involved will meet justice as well. Which, in case you weren't here for some of our earlier episodes, it turns out that the truly guilty parties were the League of Legends that she was protecting in this instance.
Yeah, that's true.
I love the way they write that too, because I feel like just looking at that, you can know like this League of Justice shit. These guys have fucked up. These guys are the guilty party. It's just so like winking at the audience. I feel like.
Yeah.
Now, there was one that you didn't mention where she, I think we talked about it with Kat, was it? Where some Demacian ships got buccaneered, and there was like, ooh, there's Noxian, necromancy and shit like that happening. Well, Kayle was leading the investigations, and she had some statement about how, like, oh, piracy won't be allowed or accepted, which I thought was hilarious because we just talked about how Kat's skin was that she was out being a fucking pirate. So. Again,
yeah, I missed
Kayle,
that one completely.
Yeah. That's funny.
So she's got some, I wrote down some quotes for her. She is another champion like Ashe, where you start the game and she will give you her life fucking story the first time you move with her. And much like Braum, where we talked about a lot of the character of Kayle is in her quotes. So I liked this exchange between Morgana and Kayle, where Morgana says, feel something, anything. And Morgana says, or Kayle says, why do you think I wear this armor, sister? It's deep.
Wow. Just reminded me of Donnie Darko. He's like, why do you wear that bunny suit? He's like, why do you wear that man suit? You remember that?
That's like, God, yeah, that's like such like a great, like, when you're 15, that line just like
that line, you were
floors.
like, oh, damn.
Oh, fuck.
So fucking deep, man. Why do I wear this man suit? Shit.
Fuck me. Right.
By the way, if you want an insight on what 15-year-old Rebecca was like, watch Donnie Darko. Because that's where I got my whole fucking personality.
Were you Donnie or were you his lady?
Tarko.
No,
Or
it's just
both.
like where I got like,
Okay.
I thought it was so cool.
I mean, I was gonna say I do like that they have a lot of back and forth quotes. I feel like, and I like that, and I wish some of that more was in some of the stories, like some actual interactions between the two.
Her dying quote too. If I could see my sister. It's like really hinting at a relationship that
Aw.
doesn't seem to be there as much in this.
I mean, they're fucking twins. That's like a really, really deep connection. And God, the fact that it's not explored at all, that they end up as enemies, like that's devastating. I mean, to any sibling to become enemies, that's really upsetting. But they're fucking twins. They literally became life together, you know? Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I absolutely. You know, it's interesting to me that the relationship is one that has kind of been in League lore for so long, but it kind of feels a little maybe atrophied compared to some of the other ones we've looked at. You know, like I understand the Draven Darius far more than I understand Kayle Morgana. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, we complain about Garen a lot, but I mean, you get what's going on with him and Lux, and like, it is sad, the things that have happened, you know, with them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's like the best part of him, for sure.
Yeah,
which
for sure.
is almost like a shame for Garen, but you know, it's his fault for being so white bread. Anyway.
So she has another quote when she kills Vel'Koz, and she says, "An eye for an eye."
Yeah. That's a good one.
Taking notes on, by the way.
You'll see.
Oh, this is the game. Okay.
So she also has a quote, "Stop there, criminal scum," which is an Oblivion reference. And she has another quote that says, "Sorry, sister, you fought the law, and I won."
Oh my god.
Talk about dated fucking references, man.
Yeah.
Shit.
All right, y'all. I now have 8 quotes here. I'm going to read them out, and I want you to tell me if it is a Kayle quote or a Jhin quote.
Okay.
Emotions are a weakness.
I'm gonna go with Kayle on that one.
Okay.
Are you going to tell us if we're right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, or are we gonna wait?
After.
Why after? I could see
okay.
you doing the tallies. Just say if we're right or
Well,
not
I
after the
can't.
first
This
one.
is important.
Okay.
They shall tremble at my perfection.
That sounds like
That
a
seems like
Jhin.
this seems like a trick.
Ooh.
Because
Well, I'm going
it
with
seems
Jhin.
too obviously Jhin. I'll say Kayle then.
I'll go with my gut.
Okay.
Because he's all about perfection, you know? I'm trying not to look, honey. I'll use the pop filters to block my view of your notes.
I am pure. My work is pure.
Oh, God. I'm
No,
going to
this
say
one
Jhin.
I remember. Yeah, Jhin. I remember we
Oh,
talked
it
about
is
this
Jhin?
one.
Okay, I didn't remember that one.
This world was not made to last.
Oh, shit. That sounds very Kayle. Are we just talking about base? These aren't like any sort of Aether wing type things happening here? Or is it just whatever?
I'm pretty sure they're all base.
Okay. Fuck. I'm gonna go with Jhin on that one.
Oh, this is hard.
Am I poisoning the well?
I'll say
Should we hold
Kayle.
up one or two?
No, I'll say Kayle. We've had a couple we've disagreed on now. We got to have that.
Okay.
The truth comes only at the moment of dying.
Jhin.
I'm gonna Jhin, yeah. He's all about that moment, I feel like.
I do what others will not.
I'll say Kayle. It feels obviously Kayle, but I don't know.
I know you're getting in my head with these questions, man.
Sorry.
No, I'll go with Kayle too. That sounds like a Kayle thing to me. Is the joke that they're all Jhin quotes?
I cannot rest. I will not.
I'm going Kayle. That feels strong Kayle to me.
Hang on. I'm trying to hear it in both their voices, even though I don't know what Kale's voice sounds like, so it sounds like your impressions of Kayle. Can you say it again, honey?
I cannot rest. I will not.
I'll say Jhin.
And there is nothing for me but this.
Man, this is again.
I'll say Jhin again.
This one seems. Shit, you got me fucked up on this one. Say it one more time. Yeah, let me hear it.
There is nothing for me but this.
I'll go with Jhin too, actually. Fuck. I'm tense. want to know who fucking won this.
So Rebecca won by
Shit.
1 point.
Ooh.
God damn it.
Yeah, the total scores were 6-5. You guys did pretty good on that one. But I think one thing this highlights is, man, how similar these fucking quotes are between
For
these two
two
champions
completely
that are
different.
supposed to be kind of polar opposite.
Yeah. I mean, that could be saying something as in, like, Kayle's not as good as she thinks she is, but I don't think that's what they're trying to say here.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to get around to the idea, I kind of like that almost as an excuse of like.
Oh, and I'm sorry. If you were playing along at home.
Okay.
Emotions are a weakness, is Kayle. They shall tremble at my perfection, is Kayle.
Yes.
I am pure, my work is pure, is Jin. This world was not made to last, is Kayle. The truth comes only at the moment of dying, is Jin. I do what others will not, is Jin. I cannot rest, I will not, is Kayle. And there is nothing for me but this, is Jin.
I'm going to be honest, I forgot which ones I picked for each one. Except for the one about perfection. That one I knew I picked Kayle.
Yeah.
I think as I was reading through them, I got to they shall tremble at my perfection, and I read it in Jin's voice. I was like, oh my god. And then I started reading all her quotes in Jin's voice. I was like, man, she sounds a lot like fucking Jin. Jesus. She had one, too, where I swear to God, she used the word fly. If she had said soar instead of fly, it would have been a Jin quote.
Really interesting.
I'm trying to remember, like, if I falter, or like, or if I'm not true, I will fall, so I must fly. I was like, oh, if
John, you're really nitpicking these words.
I'm just saying.
Jin would never say fly. It's beneath him.
Well, no, I was just thinking fly is very obviously someone with wings, whereas soar is much more often used in artistic terms.
That makes sense. You're smarter than me.
I was gonna say, if you wanted to get around to the idea of like, oh, it's like, oh, they're similar in that they're both so extreme and things. That's one thing. I think some of it kind of varies. I think on the quotes you can kind of pull out too, because there's some ones that are like, oh, that's 100% Kayle, but yeah, she could use a bit more of a stronger sort of like stronger voice a little bit as a character. Like the VO is fine, right?
Yeah.
But fun game. Thanks for proctoring it.
You're welcome. Now, do y'all want to learn about some AU Kayle?
Yeah, let me get the skins up. Because I don't play her. I don't know what any of her fucking skins
She's
are.
got a lot of them.
She lends herself to that. You know, some champions do.
Yeah.
Now, we'll start with Albion. The great elven empires were shattered into remnants long ago, yet the elves remain. And this one is Viridian Kayle. Forest elves are long-lived compared to the humans they live among, and many delve into centuries-long explorations for even a scrap of their empire's lost magic. Those who find it, such as Kayle, are gifted with incredible powers over the natural world. And we've got Woad Tribe.
Oh, so she does. Sorry, I was expecting there to be like the.
Well, you don't get to know what her powers are.
Oh, okay.
She has them.
Okay, is this like the Sherwood skin? So they show up in this one, or is this its own separate thing? What skin was this again?
Viridian Kayle.
Yeah.
Her first skin. It's just like the green Kayle.
Green. Yeah, green Kayle. I was wondering if like, because there's other green champions, I wonder if they showed up in this, or if maybe like Ezreal.
I forget the other one. It would make sense that Sherwood Ezreal was, but I forget if he's in a separate one.
I don't remember.
Maybe they looped in Elderwood or something. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, sorry.
Now we've got Woad Tribe, which is set in an alternate Freljord. It features champions as members of the Woad Tribe. What is the Woad Tribe? Your guess is as good as mine.
I know what that is. That is a it's a tribe from like Britain, Britannica, right? Like think like Roman Empire times, like that type shit. They would paint themselves.
Are they supposed to be in the Freljord here? Is it still cold?
This is Freljord, Mark.
Because
sorry, yeah.
Morgana's in this
I got
flash
confused.
too.
I thought we were in KDA.
She's wearing like a bathing suit. So like, are you cold, girl? Are you okay?
She's frostborn or whatever. Iceborn.
The paint keeps them warm.
The paint, okay.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, she needs to drink water through her skin. Don't you
Metal
feel
Gear
bad
deep
now?
cut.
Yeah.
Now this one is Battleborn Kayle. Kayle is a benevolent goddess in times of peace and a terrifying battle spirit in times of war. She wears the traditional war paint of her people as a living record of their victories and power.
Okay, this is a weird one to kind of loop into this AU because it doesn't
Yeah.
read. I was trying to remember, like, I don't think she has a Woad skin. It's weird to me that this is in that universe, you know?
It is weird because the other Woad ones are very, I feel like match to your point, the actual Woad, like they actually match that style much more.
Yeah.
Meh. I think they had like face paint on in this one and they were like, that's close enough.
Sure, right, fuck it.
And we've got Steel Valkyries. A galaxy scarred by war now attempts to rebuild, but the old wounds remain. Criminals, bounty hunters, mercenaries, and assassins have filled the power vacuum, piloting dangerous combat exosuits with godlike abilities. And this one is Aetherwing Kayle. Authorized pilot of the X-07 Gavora combat exosuit, Kayle is a Justicar of the Royal Space Military, operating deep in the hearts of lawless space. Though her mission is to uphold the fragile post-war peace, years of violent conflict have radicalized her. Now she acts as heartless judge, jury, and executioner for anyone or anything that falls beneath her gaze.
Dum dum dum.
The login music for this one is fucking great, by the way.
Yeah.
Can I just say?
Yeah,
I'll
you
listen.
can
Yeah.
say.
We can make it the opening.
Yeah,
song
do
if
it.
you want.
Go for it. I liked it. I thought it was good.
There was some, so a fun fact about this one too is that I think originally, as it was written, she was supposed to be, the idea was that she was slowly kind of being taken over by this machine, like her mind. And the VO on this one originally had kind of, God, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a
filter?
distortion filter, kind of, to make it seem like she was kind of part machine or more machine. But it didn't sound good. So they got rid of it.
Just completely muffled. Just like, it's like just static in your fucking ear.
Perfect. It just sounds like you got a mouthful of marshmallows, like you're playing Fuzzy Bunny.
Chubby Bunny Kayle.
Chubby Bunny. That's it. Fuzzy Bunny.
Oh, man.
Now, next one is Omen of the Dark, where each of the champions serves the Blade Queen. This one is Iron Inquisitor Kayle. To be crowned Inquisitor was to take a stand against the darkness, and at the head of the order stood Kayle, for her light shone the brightest. But darkness comes in many forms, and when the city fell, even its greatest champion would eventually turn upon her sisters.
I've never seen this full splash, and it's pretty fucking cool. Like, I didn't realize all
Yeah.
3 of them were on it, because I've seen the Singe skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the full splash is dope. It's very weird and creepy.
Yeah, it is neat. It feels kind of a little like outside the normal sort of
Definitely.
like wheelhouse.
Now, she's part of PSYOPs. The crown jewel of military black ops, the PSYOPs unit are an elite team of psychic soldiers deployed against rogue militaries and supernatural threats. Officially, they don't exist. But when conventional warfare won't cut it, and the stakes are no less than the fate of the world, PSYOPs answers the call. This one is PSYOPs Kayle. A self-described savior and powerful psionic swordswoman, Kayle views herself as an impartial judge in world affairs, appearing on wings powered by psychic energy as an angel of war. Her understanding of the world is black and white to a frightening extreme, and she has joined the paramilitary BRG to see her twisted vision realized. And for the record, God, I forget what the third word in that stands for, but that is like a black rose. I'm going to throw guard in there because it sounds good, but that's the black rose guard of the PSYOPs unit.
Oh, interesting. That's a fun thing to pull into that AU.
She's also just got a pistol strapped to her leg in this splash, which I'm thinking.
Gotta get yourself strapped sometimes, man.
But she's using
For when
these
the sword
swords.
can't do it.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I don't
backup
ever see
pistol.
this skin. Can I just say, like, I don't think I've
No.
ever seen this skin in game.
And this one has a cinematic, kind of. It's Operation Songbird, which is where a PsyOps unit goes in to rescue PsyOps Sona, who's been captured. And while Kayle herself is not in the cinematic, she is referenced.
Oh.
We see her name, and we also see her alias, the Righteous, and her number designation, 37. And a fun fact about this skin, her backing animation in this skin implies the existence of Morgana in this universe, because as she starts her recall, black chains shoot out, and she has to break free of them before she can finish her recall.
Oh.
Interesting.
Now I've got Dragon Slayer. Twice did Dragonfire consume the world. Twice from the embers were born heroes. And in this AU, Dragon Knight Mordekaiser summons a bunch of dragons, and Dragon Slayer Pantheon protects the people and kills a dragon, which lets the people build armor from its scales. Then after hundreds of years, Dragon Sorceress Zyra summons a second wave of dragons, and a new wave of Dragon Slayers take up the call. And this one is Dragon Slayer Kayle, a famous Dragon Slayer who vanished into the distant mountains, obsessed with destroying the dragon lineage utterly. Many years later, she has returned, so changed by the carnage that she has begun to resemble a dragon herself.
Ooh, the abyss gazes back. Ooh.
And now she's also part of Pentakill.
Everyone, take a seat, relax. We gonna be here a minute.
There's a little bit of Pentakill lore here for you. So Pentakill is a virtual band in real life comprised of League of Legends champions, which are performed by numerous musicians. Each member of the band has a skin corresponding to their Pentakill alter ego, which is styled after modern heavy day metal music. Modern day heavy metal music. You know, you get it. In a realm consecrated to dark and uncaring gods, where mortals clash in ceaseless bloody sagas of metal, one band rose above all others, Pentakill, chosen of the noisome host. Now revered in temples and arenas across the land, their supremacy has become absolute, though a time of change is approaching, and the cycle may soon begin anew. So a little backstory about Kayle here. So after the events that led to the band breaking up initially, which you can listen to our Karthus episode for more info about, Karthus descends into madness and obscurity, and Kayle hears his depthless well of misery in his despairing lyrics, and the two bond immediately, and after a night of gothic poetry and operatic singing, they pledge the vocalist's oath to reform the band stronger than ever. So first they dig up Yorick, who had buried himself in a mausoleum in Shurima. Then they go find Sona, who had played the notes of creation to build an island around herself with perfect acoustics. Then they saved Olaf from death at the last second at the hands of Drago, one of Victor's creations. And for the record, he was pissed about that. Then they finally pull the axe from the stone in the Freljord to revive Mordekaiser and bring him back to the band.
His big dump truck.
And a big old And her bio. Does molten lava, poured by the brazen gods of metal, flow through your veins? Only then are you worthy of my time. A golden warrior goddess from a strife-torn world, Kayle arrived in Runeterra on the back of a glittering serpentine dragon. She searches for allies to fight an epic war against the diabolical hordes of her faithless sister. Planet Earth had failed to produce warriors of metal, so she traveled to Runeterra in search of warriors of metal. And there are two separate spellings there. It's pretty fun when you read it, but when you say it out loud, it just kind of sounds like I'm saying the same word twice.
Sweet. Oh, okay. Took me an actual fucking second.
Yeah.
That's when I went from Kaisa to Kaisa.
Now, communicating via grand symphonic metal operas, the depthless sorrow of her arias pierces the heart of all who hear them. Literally. She kills people. Now, the cinematic she's part of are Mortal Reminder, where she basically spends the whole cinematic flying through the sky. We occasionally see glimpses of her. She shows up at the very end to kick Teemo off a mountain, and then lands dramatically with the rest of the band.
Oh my goodness.
Does she even sing in that one? She doesn't, right?
She doesn't. She does not sing.
I remember being really disappointed.
They just wanted to do
Like, I
that
like the
fan
song,
service Teemo kick.
Fuck
We were
yeah.
like, oh shit, we're getting a female vocalist, and oh shit, there she is. But then the song ends, and then she comes out.
And also,
We did
Kayle's
it, y'all.
here.
We're inclusive.
But then she was also in Pentakill 3, The Lost Chapter, which is that interactive album experience we talked about at the cart this episode, which was intense as hell. We have, all right, so we have 4 more AUs. 2 of them are interesting in that there's no AU lore for it, but there is specific skin lore for it. And 2 of them are interesting because Kayle is part of it, but doesn't have a skin in it.
Okay.
So we'll start with Transcended Kale. Having cast aside her humanity, Kayle has transcended and fully assumed her mother's mantle as the divine aspect of justice. She's aware of her mortal origins, but views it as something distant that she left behind very long ago.
Real quick, is that the one that used to be helmetless Kayle? Is that what that?
Yes, I think so.
Oh.
Can I just say, I love that Riot used to sell that as a fucking skin.
Yeah.
Like,
completely
She
goddamn,
has no
skin.
helmet.
the chutzpah on those motherfuckers, man.
I'm a little concerned about her outfit in this one.
let me
'Cause
see, let
she
me
just
see.
has a little sash covering her vagina, and she flies. I feel like
I think
it'd
she's
be
got
fluttering in the
pants on
wind.
underneath that.
Those are not pants, that's flesh, isn't it?
I don't think so. It kind of looks like she's got like almost even like a full suit type thing.
I'm gonna have to look. I can only.
Those are not
yeah,
pants,
I think
those are her legs.
I think that's pants. I think it's supposed to be like a bodysuit.
Flesh toned pants.
Or if
Yes.
it's not pants, my guess is she's wearing kind of like one of those. God, what's it called? Like
They're not pants, y'all.
Like one
It's the
of
same
the,
color as
I
their
think it's
hands.
like a wrestler
I
type
think it's
leotard.
pants. I think it's pants.
I don't think
my money's on.
I don't think the sash is the only thing covering her vagine.
I could see maybe she's got her top armor also wraps around and is like a leotard, but she is
Yeah.
not in pants.
We'll go
I
with
think
that.
so. I vote pants.
Armored leotard.
Everyone, all right, I'll put a poll on
Yeah.
Twitter. You tell me if she's
Yeah,
wearing
pants
pants.
Pants, leotard, or
No,
just-
leotard I'll get
just
on board with. You can't see
fucking
that.
Winnie the Poohing it
No,
over here.
And it's a
She's wearing
red sash
something.
too. There's no way she's wearing pink skin tight pants. It's just not.
They say juicy on the ass.
All right, that'll buy.
Yeah.
Someone
Judgy.
draw that for me. Judgy would be great.
Yes. Oh man, that would be fucking good.
Can we
That'd
get
be good by
like
itself, frankly.
Valley Girl Kayle? Because I would
Yes.
love that skin so much.
Oh man. The skin is pretty cool though. I really like this because it feels like this could be what Kayle kind of like. This is like the climax of her being like a bad arc for her, and I would love to see them actually kind of like have this be an in lore skin that she like you have to like she gets to this point, you gotta like pull her back. Like Morgana has to pull her back to be not an aspect. That could be great. I don't know.
Right. And it's kind of another thing they covered in the AMA is that this Kayle, which I think is also supposed to be this is kind of like the final basically level 16 Kayle. This is like level 16 Kayle kind of. That's modern day Kayle. The Kayle that exists right now and probably for the past hundreds years is level 16 Kayle.
It's the better forfeit
Yeah.
Kayle.
Yeah. Now we've got Judgment Kayle. Those poor souls accused of crimes are brought before the all-seeing entity Kayle, where their deeds are judged with cold dispassion. Few are absolved, and fewer still escape their sentence.
It's just
This
Kayle.
was pretty badass.
That's just Kayle.
It looks good. Don't get me wrong. It looks fucking
Yeah.
dope. I like the blind justice imagery a lot with it.
It is
Yeah.
very cool. It's just an AU where Kayle plays Kayle.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of her AUs are, I'm Kayle,
Now I'm Elf Kayle.
I like justice. Where's the Kayle that likes injustice,
Coven Elderwood. So, long ago, an order of monastic knights slew the vile gods of the old world using esoteric powers granted by the moon and sun. Now the world has grown dark and violent as those selfsame deities prepare their return, challenged only by the light of the eclipse. And while Kayle does not have a skin in this AU, Coven Morgana says that her sister murdered the primordial sun and is the one who delivered its power to the army of witch knights. So it's kind of a big deal for this AU.
I like that. I was gonna say I like that they each have a skin thing where like one of them has a skin and it hints at the other being there, even though they don't actually have a skin.
Right?
That's fun.
It's nice. And quick shout out to Sylphrina Colin from our Discord on that one because I would not have caught this one. This one was going right past me.
Nice.
And then, lastly, Culinary Masters. Set in a cooking show environment, all the champions are chefs of various skill levels. And again, Kayle does not have a skin in this AU, but as part of the AMA that was on Reddit, Rayla confirmed that Morgana is forever living in the shadow of her sister Kayle, the famous award-winning baker.
I love
That's
that
fun.
Morgana skin, dude. That's one of my favorite skins I've ever made. I miss the old splash for it, though. I want a picture of it to frame it, because it's the funniest shit.
It's very good.
Yeah.
She's so mad.
She was so mad at these burnt cookies. I'm like, I've been there, girl. I get it. So good.
And finally, we have some fun facts.
Lay 'em on me.
So Kayle's original title was actually the Judicator, not the
Oh.
Righteous. So a little nod to that is, her forming the Judicator.
That's
You
true.
get here. And she was originally voiced by Lisa Lindsay.
I could see why you almost said Lois.
I know there were so many else.
Voiced by Lisa Lindsay.
Now she's voiced by Zara Fazal.
She's Loist by
She's Zoist by
She's
Zara
Zoist.
Fazal. So Riot actually moved away from Kayle and Morgana being angels due to them having due to angels having kind of certain cultural connotations that would have made it harder for them to expand upon for a global audience.
Yeah.
During her visual update, she was given much lighter armor, specifically so that she would look less tanky. Because her original splash art, she had very heavy armor. So you can kind of refer to the singed conundrum on this one that they ran into for a while. They're like, oh, how do we make this tank, who's also this spindly little fucking guy that just looking at you would not expect him to be a tank?
I like that, the singed conundrum.
Yeah.
It's a good name for that.
Let's see. We've covered a few of these already, so I'll skip over the ones that we got to. So Kayle right now is as close to an aspect as you can possibly get after she ascended Mount Targon without being an aspect. Because she has full control of her mind, she has half celestial, and she has like a ton of powers. She's not quite as powerful as an aspect, but some might say she's more powerful.
Yeah.
Because
I
she
would
has
take
power
that.
and no mind control.
Yeah.
That's weird because I feel like what we saw with Diana was that she also kind of has like herself, and it's more of like just a nudge, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's different, like certain aspects are more willing to completely take over someone, and then others are like all influence and not control.
Yeah, it's hard because aspects are, I know we only hit a few, but they're so mysterious, so it's really hard to kind of speak to their intentions or like what's, how they kind of even just work to a degree,
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So Kayle is believed to have succeeded in her quest to go to the glittering land of gold and silver beyond the Veil in Targon Prime, which is, we haven't talked about it a ton, but it is the realm beyond Runeterra where all the celestials and aspects reside.
Oh, I mean, I don't know what you mean. We didn't talk about it. I gave you a perfect explanation about what Targon Prime is.
It's a fucking VIP room. It's a champagne room.
It is. It's the green room. They wait.
Kayle's ultimate, Divine Judgment, represents her calling upon the previous aspects of justice to use their swords to rain truth and justice upon the world to protect the innocent. And Garen's ult is related to this celestial magic.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
What a fucking hypocrite. Garen. Give up your shitty ult.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't think I ever remember Garen ever using his ult ever in like current lore currently, right? That's just a gameplay thing at this point, right?
It was in that one cinematic
Wait, which one was that?
where he was fighting Katarina.
Oh, okay, but that's like that.
Where he was going to execute an unconscious Katarina.
That was an old one.
That's old lore. But yeah. But I guess that, yeah.
It's totally canon. He gets stabbed by Demon Blade Tryndamere.
You know.
So it is said that Kayle suppresses the feelings of her mistakes because she fears that she was wrong the whole time and is becoming a monster.
I wish I didn't read ahead to the next fun fact.
Kayle's favorite food is kale.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading that one.
That is not a joke.
Kaisa's favorite food is Kaisa.
No, it's peaches, honey. We already know her favorite food.
But without the...
Kayle is right-hand dominant now, but pre-rework, she was left-handed.
Fascinating.
And Morgana is now left-handed.
Oh, because the
they're
left-handed kids are
opposites, you know.
evil.
Her dance is Elaine's dance from that one episode of Seinfeld where Elaine is demonstrating how bad she's at dancing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god.
Never really seen Seinfeld.
Oh god, it's fucking hilarious. God damn it. I gotta look at that fucking dance now.
Yeah.
That's great. What a hell of a fucking inspiration. Sorry. That's
Right?
That's great.
A millennial made that one.
Probably. Her Ether Wing dance is a reference to Night of Fire by Dream.
I don't know what
Nope.
that is either.
Didn't land for me.
Song I had never heard of,
Oh,
and
okay.
dance I had never seen.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So one of the rarest skins in the game is Silver Kayle, and it was only obtainable through digital or retail collector's edition packs.
Interesting. Yeah, when I was looking at her skins, I was like, I have never seen this ever.
Oh,
Which is wild.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John.
With the addition of Kayle to Pentakill, they're now technically a hexakill.
Oh, you.
And finally, and this is going to be something that is likely going to require us posting this image for you to cross-reference, but the Chinese version of her second splash art had to be edited because of how closely it resembled the magic card Iona Shield of Emeria, to the point where there are background rocks in her splash that are literally identical to the card. So this
So it
image
was
is
copied, not...
100%.
Oh, that's fucked up.
This is the two overlapped on top of each other, so you can see the wings of the magic card back here, but these are the rocks. They were literally copy pasted.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
Forgot about that shit. Oh my god. I mean, that was pretty outside the realm of what you would expect to see from like Riot too. I think that they
Yeah.
were like, oh shit. I don't think they, this obviously it slipped the radar, but that's I forgot about that. Yeah. Damn, son.
So that's it for fun facts.
And that's it for Kayle, I think. Any final thoughts?
There's a lot that could be done. I just want to
Yeah.
see it be done. I don't want to say the P word.
No,
But the bingo
don't
card,
curse
John.
us. Yeah, I think we've talked about it at length rather.
Alrighty. Well, that was Kayle. Thank you for listening. We have a Twitter. It's at Loreheads, and we post these on YouTube. And we have a Discord. It's linked in the description of this episode. We also have a Patreon now. What is the link to our Patreon?
It is just patreon.com/League of Loreheads.
Oh, okay.
That sounds
We
right.
tried to make it easy for you.
Thank you to all our patrons, and John will give our special shout out.
And a special shout out to King of Hearts and Jeremy Rich and Malekt, who are our Medarda tier donors on Patreon. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to us. We really appreciate it. Y'all are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. That's fucking wild to me, but really appreciate it. The support is it's great to have.
Yep. And we have some more video content, I think, in the works for upload to Patreon as well soon. So look out for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Be sure to tune in next week. We're going to have our first special guest episode. One of the fellas from Trinity Force podcast is going to be joining us to talk about the Shadow Reaper, Kayn.